Donald Trump is freaking out right now over the No King's Day protests to the point where he and Mike Johnson and Republicans in Congress are going so far as potentially investigating the No King's Day protests because they were so big and because so many people turned out. Now, Donald Trump, on his part, reacted to the No King's Day protests, saying that they were, quote, small and ineffective. Small and ineffective. But the truth is, folks, 7 million people across the globe in over 2,700 events here in the United States and across the world showed up to protest him. And well, he wasn't happy about it. So he was on Air Force One and he was asked about his reaction to the No King's Day protest. And I want you to see what he said.
Protests over the weekend, the No King's protests.
I think it's a joke. I looked at the people. They're not representative of this country. And I looked at all the brand new signs paid for, I guess it was paid for by Soros and other radical left lunatics. It looks like it was. We're checking it out. The demonstrations were very small, very ineffective, and the people were whacked out. When you look at those people, those are not representative of the people of our country.
Mr. President, besides San Francisco...
And by the way, I'm not a king. I'm not a king. I work my ass off to make our country great. That's all it is. I'm not a king at all.
That's him calling them small and ineffective. That's also him saying that he's going to start probing the idea of George Soros potentially having played a part in these protests when there is no necessarily evidence to suggest that. But what's interesting to me is that if the president of the United States truly thought that these protests were small and ineffective, he wouldn't have posted an AI-generated image of him dumping poop, of him dumping feces on American protesters. You may have missed this video from over the weekend, but it's essentially Donald Trump in a crown dropping feces on American protesters. I want you to take a look at this. And one of the protesters that he was dropping feces on was essentially Harry Sisson, who's a Democratic influencer, a very large Democratic influencer. And while the past 24 hours, Harry Sisson and JD Vance, the vice president of the United States, have been arguing on Twitter now over this feces video. We're in a government shutdown, folks, 19 days into a government shutdown. And the vice president of the United States is arguing with a Democratic influencer over a video showing the president of the United States dropping feces on a crowd of protesters. I'm not kidding. That is real. That is not a headline from The Onion. That is real life. And well, today, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, was asked about that video, was asked what his thoughts were, whether or not he would condemn it. And, you know, the short answer should be, yes, I condemn the video. The president of the United States should not be posting a feces-laden video on his Truth Social platform. But I want you to look at Johnson's response to this.
Speaker Johnson, you say that the Democrats had a Hate America rally, but what does it say that the President of the United States over the weekend released a video of him pooping on the American people?
The President uses social media to make a point. You can argue he's probably the most effective person who's ever used social media for that. He is using satire to make a point. He is not calling for the murder of his political opponents, and that's what these people are doing. I mean, they're in one of these photos. I think there's a picture of the president hanging in effigy by a noose on one of these, the one on the far end. I mean, it's unconscionable.
Johnson just said that Donald Trump was making a point by essentially putting out this video. What point was he trying to make? I mean, listen, I think that Americans saw the point what Trump was trying to make because they were having feces dropped on them. Americans who protested the Trump administration get feces dumped on them. That's, I guess, the point that he's trying to make. And it's a very stunning display from the White House, stunning display from Congress, stunning display from the vice president's office, because it comes at a time of difficulty for the American public. Yes, there were historic protests, But if you want to know why there were historic protests, it's because policy in the United States of America just simply isn't popular right now. The overwhelming majority of polls shows that Donald Trump's approval rating is lower at this point than any other president in modern day history at this point in their presidency. His polling just continues to drop because Americans are tired of the policies that he is enacting, or rather, lack thereof. Remember, President Trump ran on an agenda of lowering costs for the American people, but truth is, most Americans simply can't afford groceries every week. The price of beef is at an all-time high. Well, Donald Trump's response to that is we're simply going to buy some beef from Australia.
Question is, what do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can. But don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying.
What do you mean by beef?
That's him on Air Force One saying that, or from Argentina. That's him on Air Force One saying that we're just going to buy beef from Argentina to fix the problem. But truth is, the real problem here is that America's farmers are hurting. The real problem here is that Americans can't afford to eat right now. And while the president of the United States is more focused on throwing feces on his political opponents via these Truth Social videos than he is actually solving any problems here at home. And at the same time, we have wars overseas. Remember Donald Trump's ceasefire in Gaza? Well, that ceasefire is all but over as Israel has launched a wave of airstrikes in southern Gaza, and Hamas, according to Israeli forces, has targeted Israeli forces in violation of the ceasefire. Both sides are blaming each other. There's still a war in Ukraine, and if you remember, Donald Trump this weekend, or when he met with Vladimir Zelensky recently, he yelled at Zelensky, demanding that he accept Vladimir Putin's position on the war, essentially giving up significant land to Russia, despite the fact that Russia doesn't even occupy most of that land. That's where we're at there. Talking about immigration, a recent ProPublica report showed that 170 United States citizens, including children, have been rounded up by ICE officials in the past 9 months. American citizens, by ICE officials. They've been detained for periods of time, some over 24 hours, without access to a lawyer, without access to a phone to call their family members. That's the America we live in. But take a step broader, he is deploying the United States military on American streets, going to Chicago, Portland, now San Francisco. He wants to potentially go through the Insurrection Act. These policies aren't ones that Trump voters voted for. It's not ones that Americans voted for. And yet it's what we have right now. It's why people protested. It wasn't small. It wasn't ineffective. Quite the contrary. It's pretty large and pretty effective. And that's why Donald Trump is upset about it. As always, if you want to support my work, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.
Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.